Hey, folks. Yep, here I am back again. This is your man, Adolphus A.D. Moore. After one heck of an overtime football game today, pop the music down. After one heck of an overtime football game today, the Nashville, the Tennessee Titans in Nashville, wearing the Houston Oilers throwback, the old Houston Oilers jersey today. Everything, the full regalia went out today, and for a little bit was really going to try to, it's almost like they were going to try to, you know how you housebreak a puppy, when you're trying to housebreak them and teach them how to go to the bathroom. That's almost the way it almost wanted to end today. They wanted to do it just, get to look like my dad used to teach our dogs at the house, get them a little roll up newspaper. This is where you go, and then had a newspaper and whack him when he didn't do it. Well, they were on their way of doing that today. And however, something happened along the way. And there's a song by that. The Houston Texans defeated the Tennessee Titans dressed up in disguise as the Houston Oilers today in overtime. 2 seconds left. Fairbairn hits a 54-yard field goal. Texans come away with the victory. Hats off, guys, because let's face it, you didn't have a lot of people today. You didn't have your starting quarterback. You didn't have you're probably your best two wide receivers. However, Noah Brown, game ball. Case Keenum. And let me just stop and say this right now. Last week on this show, and say hello to my man Elwin Henderson, and congratulations to the Gilmer Buckeyes who win in the 4A title. But Elwin had to get on the road today, and he could not appear. I'm sorry he couldn't, because I'm pretty sure he had a mouthful that he could have come back and just really have reiterated what he had to say from last week. Because last week after New York, which we both felt was their worst outing under DeMeco Ryans, but this team came back today and showed some moxie. Case Keenum hadn't started a game since what, 2014, something like that. I mean, he has been the epitome of a journeyman. I've covered Case. I remember the final interview. I mean, one of his last interview when he was at U of H, and they had lost a conference championship game in the old Robinson Stadium. And I've just remember that all of that sort of stuff comes flushing back. Coach, with the Titans, running around in those old Oilers jerseys and everything. Nope. There wasn't Cody Carson out there. There wasn't Ray Childress. There wasn't Adrian Foster out there. None of those guys were at there. There was none of that today. Those were not the Oilers as we knew them, as I grew up with. Those were not the Oilers that started off playing in Jefferson Stadium with the likes of George Blanda and Charlie Hennigan and Charlie Toller and the likes. Those were not those Oilers, folks. Those folks were that whole issue as far as Bud Adams and Bob Lanier, two rich guys at that time, got into a, just, if you excuse expression, a bleeping contest about who, when, and what. The city had already acquiesced to Bud Adams and far as making changes to the dome, and we're still paying for the dome. In fact, the dome is still sitting there, and they'll probably figure out what to do with it one day. The eighth wonder of the world, and still remember walking back underneath the stadium, underneath the goalpost area there, walking the team back into the locker room and doing tape, starting off with Ralph Cooper. So this is some things that all came rushing back to me, is watching those jerseys out there, or watching the old Houston Oilers in the old practice field over there, where the old Oilers practice facility and everything used to be. But today, the Houston Texans, under DeMeco Ryans, And let's face it, where everything started off was particularly with Case. And and I stated, as I stated earlier, when we get back to the point, yeah, I stated last week that Davis Mills would be your starting quarterback. I was wrong, and I'm happy to say I was wrong. Case Keenum and Coach, one of my colleagues this past week, when we was in there, had probably had more confidence in Case being out there than probably I had or probably should have shown, knowing with my history, knowing how Case has been in the past in his 12 plus years in the National Football League. But when he threw that pick, I probably went like, oh crap, this is what's going to happen. But the Texans dug, scrap. They done everything, any and everything to come away with a victory today. And Kaimi Fairbairn's those 3 field goals, the last one being of 54 yards, 2 seconds left in overtime to seal the victory today. And guess what? I'm not sure which Tennessee Titan uniform, what uniform the Tennessee Titans going to wear in 2 weeks, because next week the Cleveland Browns come in. That's going to be one epic contest. And then the following week on the 31st, New Year's Eve, the Tennessee Titans come in. So maybe they'll come in the Titans uniform. But a lot of things to get to. But before we get too deep in the woods, let's hear from our sponsor, Ken Ross, and then I'll start breaking it down.
Hello, I'm Ken Ross. Hello, I'm Ken Ross with the Ken Ross Insurance Agency. There are certain things that are important in our lives: our health, our safety, and our loved ones. With over 40 years of experience, I've seen just how important insurance can be. I value the importance of being a part of my community and being there when they need me. Insurance is important everywhere, but being here in South Texas, it is absolutely essential. From flood, home, auto, and life insurance, let the Ken Ross Agency be your agency of choice.
That's right, folks. 281-235-5952. Give Ken Ross a call. Call him now. I'm pretty sure if not, it'll go to his voicemail, and he'll be more than happy to return your call. He can supply any and all your insurance needs. He's been my agent, what, I want to say 40 plus years, maybe 35, 40 years. On top of that, outstanding gentleman, and my frat brother on top of that. Hey, that's a heck of an endorsement. So like I said, I done spent money with him a long time as he has been my insurance agent of choice. Let him be your insurance agent of choice. Ken Ross, 281-235-5952. The Houston, I almost said it. I did it. I was wondering how long I was too bad somebody didn't take a bet with me. How long I was going to go for I wanted to call, start saying the Houston Texans instead of the Houston, and I almost done it. In fact, I'll go ahead and accept it. I did it. The Houston Texans defeated the Tennessee Titans today. Come in disguise as the Houston Oilers, and even Mike Vrabel walked out with a big cowboy hat on in tribute to O.A. Bum Phillips. Nice gesture. I appreciate it. But I guarantee you, you're no Bum Phillips. You're nowhere close to being a Bum Phillips. And that's not a knock against you, Mike Vrabel. It's just that I've had a chance, been around him. I remember when the Oilers were training up in Sam Houston in Huntsville. I was still in college up there, so I had a chance to just be with those guys, see what be around Bum Phillips. That was Elvin Bethea and the likes, and Curly Culp and all those guys. So there's a history with me as far as the Houston Oilers are concerned. And just because you put a uniform on doesn't mean you have the history with it. You do not. And so, but you have a licensing right to the Houston Oilers uniform, but you don't have the history. I don't care what you say. Even though y'all enshrine Billy White Shoes Johnson into your ring of honor today, I'm pretty sure all of y'all have, and those folks in Tennessee need to go back to YouTube and just probably bring up Billy White Shoes Johnson for what he was able to do. And probably I just remember Bum sometimes standing on the sideline, hands raised, and go and talking about run, Billy, run. But that's not the point. That's the day. It's DeMeco Ryans standing on the sideline today, and a picture of composure. And I think that was sort of unique today. It was something about his demeanor on the sideline today and what this team accomplished. Hats off to the Houston Texans defense today. Starting with Jonathan Grenard. Yeah, I mean, this is his contract year, but what better time to do it? He's got double-digit sacks. The Texans had 7 quarterback sacks today, ladies and gentlemen. Jonathan Grenard led all with 2.5 hits. Malik Collins had a 1.5 sack. Derek Barnett won. Khalil Davis started it off. Desmond King had 1. And Khalil Davis started off with the sack parade and had 11 quarterback hits today. So Will Levis, welcome to the National Football League, son. If you want to know what it's like to be harassed and harangued, you got it. Hats off to the Houston Texans offensive line today because they were porous. Juice Scruggs today probably looked like why he's shown that he's at guard today because Titus Howard is out and Juice Scruggs is in there and he struggled today. But he played well enough to hold up because the Tennessee Titans were relentless in their pursuit against Case Keenum today. It's something that I remember. Something that DeMeco Ryans said last week when he was talking about the defensive room, and they say, when it's time to eat, let us all eat. Well, that whole defensive line, they ate today, as the old folks said, they ate. Them boys ate today, and they they were eating real good. And my man Jonathan Grenard led the way today, and he was a menace. He was a menace. I hesitate to go a menace to society because he's not that type of gentleman. But on that 100 yards, on that 53 plus wide yard field, he was a menace today to the Tennessee Titans, Will Levis, and just a continuous haranguing. Hats off to Delvin Singletary. Motor, 26 carries, 121 yards rushing. No, I'm gonna tell you, no. And here's the adversity. Last week I clearly stated, get ready for a big dose of number 22. Well, let me tell you what, folks. The Texans defensive line shoved it back up my throat when I sit there and say, because I felt like they were going to have a heavy dose of Derrick Henry today. Well, let me just give you Derrick Henry's byline today. 16 carries, 9 yards. 16 carries, 9 yards. Derrick Henry, they didn't let him get started today. They controlled the line of scrimmage. Every time Derrick Henry had a chance to act like that he was going to get away, the Texans were hitting him. The Texans did not let big number 22 get started running today. They were determined he was not going to beat them, and they basically tried to make the Will Levis was going to have to be the one to beat him today, and he did not, because Will Levis became, as the saying, he became the that nice he became the dog food today. He became the meal today for the defensive line as far as the Houston Texans are concerned, because they ate today, folks. They were eating, and they ate up the Tennessee Titans line today. But on the other hand, Case got beat up a while itself today, because they came back with 6 sacks today on their side. So, but they walk away with the victory. And that's at the end of the day, take everything being equal. I mean, how many folks out there honestly thought that the Houston Texans were going to go into Nashville today and come out with a victory? I think if you're honest with yourselves, they had the potential to do it. And I stated earlier, I said the Texans defense is going to have to really carry this team to victory today, and really the Texans defense kept them in there. The offensive line, even though they had some breakdowns for the most part, because Delvin Singletary didn't pick up them 121 yards rushing on his own. Somebody had to be blocking up front. So again, my hats off to the offensive line for just for their tenaciousness and being able to hang in there today, because they only had one original starter that's been like that since the beginning of the season, and my man Shaq Mason still hanging in there. And hopefully that ought to be, if, I know he just signed he signed a contract at the beginning of this past season, but Shaq is earning this money, but he's still the consistent link in as far as that offensive line today is concerned, because the Titans, taking everything in consideration, the Texans, that the battle of the T's, as we call it, regardless of whether they had the all his uniform on today, the battle of the T's today, the Houston Texans came out on top. Hats off, and like I say, the Case, tough, gutsy. Whatever you want to say to Case, because I'm gonna tell you, those the field goals were about to drive me crazy, because just and with the field goals driving me crazy, but the fact that the Texans, in their own imitable way, and Noah Brown stepped up today. Dalton Schultz stepped up today. Because not having your what you consider your lead wide receivers, Noah Brown and all those guys, it was a team victory today. Period. But somebody had to take the lead on it, and as far as I'm concerned, the Texans defense, that front four, that front seven today, and the secondary did not let DeAndre Hopkins get run wild and loose today. Between the corners and the safeties, they kept that the back end kept everything in check. The front seven, it ought to be a good film session tomorrow, guys. Everybody's probably not going to grade out with a high grade, but I tell you what, at the end of it, but the best grade that you look for, I know from an individual standpoint, but the best grade that you can look for is what the scoreboard read when at the end of overtime. It's when Ka'imi Fairbairn's 54-yard field goal sailed through the uprights with 2 seconds on the clock, and when they cleared the crossbar, not hit the crossbar as the Texans experienced a couple of weeks ago. It cleared the crossbar. In fact, he probably could have. I think Ka'imi Fairbairn probably could have. I want to say that with the distance, he probably could have stepped back maybe about 58, 59. But that's okay. We would take the 54-yarders. The Texans can come out of Nashville with a victory today, and a well-deserved victory today. It should be a nice plane ride coming back, and I'm ecstatic about the way, and I'm ecstatic that the way that the defense put the whole team on their shoulders and brought them to victory. I mean, they took away some things and made Will Levis, although you've had success, young man, we're gonna make you beat us today. And true to their scheme, the Levis could not that juice that he has proven, that's shown the Houston Titans in the past. I mean, the Tennessee Titans in the past, that he didn't have it enough today to bring them across the finish line. So let's have another quick word from our sponsor, Mr. Ken Ross. Then we'll come back in and try to figure out. And
Hello, I'm Ken Ross with the Ken Ross Insurance Agency. There are certain things that are important in our lives: our health, our safety, and our loved ones. With over 40 years of experience, I've seen just how important insurance can be. I value the importance of being a part of my community and being there when they need me. Insurance is important everywhere, but being here in South Texas, it is absolutely essential. From flood, home, auto, and life insurance, let the Ken Ross Agency be your agency of choice.
That's right, folks. 281-235-5952. Give Ken Ross Agency a call and tell him your man here, Adolphus A.D. Moore, said, give him a call and said that AD said that you will hook him up. You said you're the man with all our insurance needs. You can hook him up. You can address each and every one of your insurance needs. After all these years, he's still one of the best, the strongest, one of the finest men you want to do, and one of the finest agencies in the world, period. And State Farm couldn't have a better guy than Ken Ross to represent them. And so, take my hat off to him. Thank him for your long gratitude and service to want to sponsor the corner after every one of the Texans games, win, lose, or draw. He's here. He's put his name behind it, and I'm appreciative of him. So, and I know he's probably kicking back today. He's probably might have a cigar lit today. Not sure. Ross, you got a cigar lit? Not sure. If you have one lit, just go ahead. We'll probably have to get one later on. But anyway, again, the Houston Texans, overtime. Ka'imi Fairbairn, 54-yard field goal, 2 seconds left. And he kicked the Tennessee Titans kicked them into a loss today. And a loss that a lot of folks felt like that the Titans were coming in after they had their Monday night victory, thought that they would probably have a winning streak. Well, the winning streak stopped today because those guys that wore those steel blue helmets and pants today, they showed some heart today. They really did. And Case Keenum, 23 or 26, 229 yards. He's 1-1. Well, in fact, he threw 2 touchdowns today. Okay. One of them just happened to one of them got carried back by the Tennessee Titans today, but that's okay. At the end of the day, Case and the magic of Case Keenum and the magic that Case Keenum has and possesses, and that magic still continues. So the Houston Texans today, probably, if they have not already gotten on the plane, they probably should be having a police escort going to Nashville Airport. They ought to be loading up pretty quick now. If not, they're on their way. And so, the folks, that'll be one heck of a plane ride, a very victorious plane ride today, as your Houston Texans, 8-6 now, and everybody that thought that the Texans, and on this day, December 17th, 2023, everybody that thought that the Texans would be 8-6 today at this point in time, raise your hand. You're a liar. Okay, you're lying, because nobody felt like the Texans would be 8-6 at this time of the year. And not coming in. They felt like that they hopefully will be competitive, and that includes me. I'm not sure what they might have had, but I tell you what, the turnaround and this expected turnaround. So wherever we do, I know this right now. If they can continue this and they know they'll be in the playoffs. They're probably going to be on the road. But I tell you what, at this point, I really don't care. I think that this team, and hopefully they'll be able to get some players back. And now, will CJ Stroud be back next week? Be quite candid with you folks, I don't know, and I would not rush this young man back. Because Case, I feel confident in Case can get us another victory. I know why. I know now why, and I see why Davis Mills didn't start. The one pass they allowed him to go in on, and he still got sacked holding the football. So, And that's just the nature of the beast. The young man, he probably will not be here next year, but for right now, between Case Keenum and hopefully you got to feel pretty doggone good about the Texans' chances coming in the next week with the Cleveland Browns coming in, regardless of regardless of the circumstances. Could this be a preview of a wild card weekend? Maybe. Who knows? But I tell you one thing, they're in the hunt, and also the fact that there's a high draft pick on the line too. So the fact that they can help themselves with a high draft round by beating the Cleveland Browns and just making themselves look even better because of the Deshaun Watson deal and everything else that goes along with it. But I tell you what, folks, kudos, hats off. Defensive line, hats off. Linebacking core, hats off. Offensive line, you done enough to keep Case standing up. Hats off. Hats off to Bobby Slowick and coming up with a scheme. Hats off to Noah Brown. Hats off to Dalton Schultz. Hats off to that whole steel blue helmet, that steel blue look team that wore the steel blue helmets today. Hats off to all of us, because you made some folks in Houston eat some words today, because when the way this game started off, nobody felt like you were going to come away victorious, but just by the team reflected the steady hand of their head coach DeMeco Ryans today, and it was reflective and his confidence in this team, and they rewarded their coach with the confidence he placed in them by coming away with a victory today over the Tennessee Titans today. Even though they were in their Halloween costumes looking like the Houston Oilers, they weren't. Regardless of the fact, congratulations to Billy White Shoes Johnson for being enshrined into the Tennessee Titans Hall of Ring of Honor, even though it should be the Houston Oilers. I'm not sure why it hadn't been done before, but be that as it may, I know they were trying to play on any and everything, thinking that they were going to try to rub our nose in it. Guess what? We might be housebroken, but you know what? We came in the house and messed up your house. Now, take that. That I know that's wrong. Some of y'all probably cracking up right now, but that's okay. Titans. How does that taste? How does that taste in your mouth right now? Anyway, folks, I'm about ready to get out of here because next weekend is Christmas Eve. And guess who comes to town? Those guys, the Cleveland Browns. It's, again, your Houston Texans snatch victory from the jaws of defeat today, because it didn't look well enough at the start. But at the end, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And they finished on top. Again, Ka'imi Fairbairn, 3 field goals, the biggest one. Of course, he hit them, but that big one, 54 yards, 2 seconds left in overtime. And your Houston Texans fans, folks, and everybody out there, snatch it. Got a guarantee today, and they are rolling. They're 8-6. Nobody would have thunk it. And so, hey, the defensive line, as DeMeco Ryans say, they ate. Those boys ate today. And so, hats off to all of y'all. Congrats, guys. We'll look to get over there next week. To see and get some feedback after, as they say, we'll take 24 hours to enjoy this one and get ready. So hopefully that there's not a lump of coal for the fans next week in NRG when the Cleveland Browns come calling. So without further ado, this is your man, Adolphus A.D. Moore, getting ready to sign off. Hey, folks, holiday season, if you're still out there buying Christmas presents and so forth, please be careful. Ladies, be careful. Men, be careful. Folks are out there that's not they're not walking around with the same Christmas spirit, and some folks want to take advantage of you in your zeal to want to shop and go around and be careful with your shopping. Be careful with your possessions. Be careful in your surroundings. Watch what you're doing on the malls. Watch where you're parking. Watch what you're doing on the parking spot. Do not be so so reticent and so relaxed that you let some people get up on you. There are some folks out here that has bad intentions, and I don't want those bad intentions to happen to you all, especially the ones that listen to me on the Ad Max Corner and on the Houston Roundball Review channel. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to the Ad Max Corner YouTube channel, and guess what? As I finally close out, I got what I thought was some good numbers today from YouTube. They said I've had, since did some modifications, some things I had. We had over 4,000 views so far this season, since the season started. And I take those. I'm grateful for each and every one of those views, folks. I really am. I thank you. I thank you for just stopping by and giving me a cursory look. I thank you for everybody that stopped by, just gave a quick look. And even some of my older stuff that had been out there, for going back and taking a look at it. I am very pleased with it. Thank you very much. And without further ado, this is your man Adolphus A.D. Moore, coming up to the Christmas weekend, Christmas Eve weekend and everything. Look to talk to you from NRG Stadium next week, the Lord willing, and everything else. Folks, I'm out. Take care. Ciao. We'll be talking at you later. Y'all take care. Hey, folks, have a good holiday. Watch yourselves out there and be careful. I am out.